guys, it's me, Kiara Tee, and I'm back once again with another video. Today's video is going to be about me giving advice to my younger self. I'm super excited about this because I've been thinking about what I would say, and so I'm going to pretty much let it rip right here. For starters, we were born in Chicago. We lived everywhere. Harvey, we lived in Dalton, we lived on the south side off 117th and State. We just lived a lot of different places in Chicago. The middle of 3rd grade, our mother picked us up and moved us to a really small town called Camden, Arkansas. And that is a lot of where my childhood started and what I became comfortable with. Camden is a small town, like I said, in Arkansas. It was me, my twin, and my older brother, Brandon. And I honestly have really great childhood memories from there. I mean, I made a lot of friends, some that I still consider to be friends to this day. People that I love with my whole heart, even though I don't talk to them often at all. I don't see them much at all. But so we moved from Chicago to Camden, which was a drastic change, but at the same time, I think it was a great change for us. So with that being said, Camden was such a small town that you just adapt to that way of life and that way of being and existing and living. And so the first thing I would tell my younger self, the advice I would give to my younger self, was to never stop dreaming. I wish that as a child I wouldn't have stopped dreaming. I really honestly too can say as an adult that I didn't have many aspirations. I didn't have many dreams. And I honestly feel like a lot of times I had the biggest dreams when I was coming back to Chicago every summer to stay with my dad. And that might sound crazy, but I am keeping it real. Like in Camden, I was just more concerned with my friends, and you know, my mom had a small business, so we were working for her, making a little money on the side here and there, hanging out maybe at like the parks, and just being a kid. It was very carefree, but it was also small enough where you didn't think about the future. And I remember that specifically. As an adult, I didn't dream much. So I remember at some point over the summer being in Chicago, I wanted to be a singer. And I loved to sing, but I was really fearful of singing. So the second thing I would tell myself is to not be afraid to sing. Like just sing, girl, sing. You know, I remember at one point I did join our children's choir at church, and I led a song by Fred Hammond. The song is called When We Praise, or When You Praise. And I was so nervous. I think I did a decent job, but I was so nervous that I know for a fact that I was overcome with so much fear because it wasn't something that I was comfortable doing. The third piece of advice that I would give my younger self is I wish I would have been more understanding toward my dad and toward, you know, my family. Just a quick walkthrough. We were about 10 or 11 when my dad met my stepmom, who is like the joy of my life. I love her to pieces now, but as a kid, it was not that sort of situation. It was not a great dynamic, and it was because as a kid, I could not understand how my father would move on and remarry and how he had other kids. Like, I couldn't wrap my head around that. Because I was young and it really wasn't explained to me. So I remember, you know, being a child and feeling like abandoned and feeling like, you know, a secondary priority. And that really hurt, you know, as a child. But it was just like, not only did the distance hurt, but just feeling like my dad had moved on basically and had forgotten about us, and the only time we really got to see him was in the summers. But just as an adult now, I realized like life truly does go on, and it's not to offend anyone or to hurt anyone. But what was my dad gonna do? My mom divorced him, and then she picked us up, moved us to Camden. I remember he didn't want us to go, and you know, that just kind of created a lot of different risks through life. And I think that moving to Camden definitely was the best decision for us at that time, but it really hurt our relationship with our dad. And on the flip side, once he moved on and got remarried, because my dad always wanted to be married, he always wanted to have children. So once he moved on and remarried and had more children, we were like, ah, what about us? You know, just bitter kids. We were bitter. And so that definitely is the big thing. Like the third thing, I wish I would have been more understanding toward him and his situation, because life goes on. And it doesn't mean that you're not important. It just means that people have to balance, you know, blended families and things like that. The fourth thing that I would say is that it wasn't my fault, and to not be ashamed or embarrassed of things that were out of my control as a child. Definitely later on down the line in the videos, I'll be getting into more detail about my own personal life and my own personal experiences. But I can definitely say that the fourth thing I would tell myself was just that it wasn't my fault, you know, and not to be embarrassed or ashamed of things that were just out of my control as a child. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely subscribe to my channel and like this video. Also drop a comment below. I look forward to hearing from you all. And last but not least, if you are not already, definitely go follow me on Instagram at Kiara Tee. Alright, deuces.